Horse racing continues to share their memories of the many lives touched by the First Lady of Racing after Penny Chenery's passing last week. We'll have more on her lasting legacy in horse racing. Charlotte Weber was a friend of Penny Chenery. She's blazed a trail of her own, the story of Live Oak Plantation and a broodmare that's been the farm's millionaire maker. And 2-year-old fillies featured on today's card of the Joseph A. Gemma. Burning Rose will look to build on a brilliant debut at Saratoga in today's featured race, Race 8, later today. Welcome to Belmont Park Live. It's presented by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. It is good to be back in New York. A beautiful Wednesday afternoon here as we get set for the start of the late pick 4 coming up. Approaching the 8-minute mark to post here in race 6. Welcome to those watching on MSG Plus. Greg Wolf, I am back. I'm joined by New York Racing Association handicapper Andy Serling. Good to see you again. I miss being here.
It's an emotional moment for me being back here with you, Greg. It really has been hard. Paul was so overcome, he couldn't even come on with us. He was so upset.
I understand.
But I'm here, a trooper. But I'm here. It's great to be with you. It is great to have you back.
And we got a good card. This pick 4 sequence, I thought, very difficult. In that 2-year-old filly race, pretty wide open.
I agree. I mean, there's some favorites you're going to have to try to deal with in those races. But I think they're pretty interesting, this pick 4 as well.
I think we're going to get right to it here.
We are.
We hear the call to post behind us. Let's sneak these in real quick here. Course conditions for today. Main track fast turf course is firm, cloudy, 79 degrees. A little bit of a light wind breezing through here. And that is a look at the races we'll be bringing you. The 6th kicks off the pick 4, 1.25 miles over the inner turf. The 8th is that Joseph A. Gemma in race 9 will close things out. 1.16 miles on the turf. And I like a horse a lot.
Really?
In the Nightcap.
Can't wait to hear. You're going to tease us with that?
$100 sign-up bonus. Promo code is LIVE. Bet 100. You'll get 100 in your account. Be sure to use that promo code LIVE to take advantage. Go to NYRABets.com. You get signed up and started all across the country with Naira Bets and play all these races that we're showing you. All right, post-parade time here for race 6 to kick us off. Here's the remaining half of the entry. We'll break from post 2, Doc's Legacy.
You wonder if he will be more forwardly placed as he was 2 back when he ran very well to win at Saratoga.
6-1 on the remaining half of the entry there. Here's Louis Vale. It's going to break from post 4 in here.
The 2B, actually, is the one we're looking at there, and that's Indebted, who was second behind Doc's Legacy. I think both halves of these entries are taking some play.
Yeah, Indebted second to the outside. There's the plane 2 Louis Vale with Angel Arroyo.
Looks to be the speed of the race, but can he get the 1.25 miles?
Montclair will have the inside slot for trainer George Weaver, who just won the last race.
A little bit lukewarm on the board right now. A horse taking a suspicious drop.
Yeah, 2-1 on the morning line. Double that number right now. Ultra Boy, the 5. Jose Ortiz, Mike Maker team up.
Along with Montclair, he's the other big drop down in this race, but I think he's dropping down to the appropriate level off his recent efforts.
Blarp off the claim, and the blinkers come off today.
Rudy Rodriguez has weak numbers off the claim on the turf, and Blarp tries the 1.25 miles for the first time.
Derek Ryan sends out Sunset District with Kendrick Carmouche.
He's run okay going the distances at Monmouth, but probably against cheaper.
And Lake Lonely Racing sends out Rum Tum Tugger, Jonathan Shepard.
My selection in this race for Jonathan Shepard in an appropriate spot as he's 8 years old.
All right, make us some money, please, Andy Serling.
I'm going to try to hit the pick 4. We'll use 3, 5, 8 in here. I'm going to use the 2 drop downs. Obviously, the 2 entries taking a lot of money. I'm trying to beat them. The 8 horse we mentioned. 1, 3, 6 the next leg. 1, 6, 7 in the feature of the Gemma. And 2, 6, 7, 11 to close it out. I hope I have your horse in the last leg. Should I add? Who should I be adding? The 12?
Yeah, I like the 12 a lot in that race.
Really? Final flurry.
Yeah, we'll see. But tough outside post there. Rosario's going to be aboard, ran a huge number last time out.
Make a ticket, I think, $67.50 if you want to add the 12.
All right, I would throw that 12 in. For more on this first leg of the sequence coming in, let's check in with the third member of our team today, Gabby Gaudette.
Thank you, Greg. It feels like the 3 amigos on today's broadcast, but this is a really interesting race to kick things off. And looking at one half of the entry in the plane 2 Louis Vale, this is a horse who is going to be the main speed here today, and it feels like he's gonna send the rest of the field on the merry chase. So the biggest question is, can he handle the distance, and what happened to him last time out? It looked like there was just so much pace signed on in his last race that he couldn't manage to make the lead. Today, it does look like he'll have that tactical advantage, and to me, physically, he looks like he's got the frame to at least handle the distance. So he, I think, is a very intriguing one there. Unfortunately, unfortunately kind of undervalued as he is part of that coupled entry. As we go to the 6 in here, Blarp, first off the claim for Rudy Rodriguez. And to me, this is kind of the other side of the spectrum. To me, it kind of looks like he wants to go shorter. He just is really well developed behind the saddle. The blinkers come off today. He looks fantastic for the new connections. I just worry about distance limitations for this one. And then we'll go with the 3, Montclair. And guys, this is actually going to be my top selection for trainer George Weaver. I thought he just looked really well turned out. He was dappled from head to toe. And yes, he is taking a drop in class, but you also have to pose the question, can he beat horses like he was going against in the Johns Call? I think this is maybe an appropriate drop for him. And if you're George Weaver and you see this race come up that's 1.25 miles, why not be competitive in this type of position? So did land on the 3 here, Montclair, for George Weaver. I thought he looked great in the flash.
All right, Gabby, thank you. Well, we'll see. The problem with Montclair taking the drop, there's some other ones like Ultra Boy who are also dropping in class who's handled him before.
Yeah, I'm going to have to disagree with. I'm going to use this horse. I understand he can win, but I'm going to disagree with what Gabby's saying. They claimed this horse at the end of June for $62,500. I don't think they were thinking, hey, let's drop him in for $25,000 2 starts later. They obviously wanted to try to win a race like the Johns Call in Saratoga, and he didn't really run that badly in there, Greg. It was a paceless race, and he really had no chance. He lost by a few lengths. And now their first move is to say, please let somebody claim him for $37,500 less than we claimed him for less than 3 months ago. So he can win, but this
Red
has
flag.
Well, here's the thing. They could have run him for about 50. And if he runs poorly for 50 and nobody claims him, then they might not lose him for 25. So they're just saying to people, please take him off my hands. Doesn't mean he won't win, but I think it's a lot of red flags. This claimant is also dead on the board.
Yeah, 9-2 right now from his 2-1 morning line for the 7-year-old. Meanwhile, he faced Ultra Boy 3 starts back. Ultra Boy finished ahead of him on that occasion. Ultra Boy, the 5-horse right now at 5-2 on the board.
Yeah, I don't find him to be as suspicious a drop down because his recent races, his form's kind of declined. I think they're kind of saying, you know what, we claimed this horse for $50,000 almost exactly a year ago, 9/24 of 16. We've done okay with him. He's made $30,000 this year. He made a few dollars last year. It's time to move on with him. So his form's more exposed. I don't mind this drop.
And again, right now, he's a second choice on the board. To the outside, Rum Tum Tugger, 8-1. Were you going to make a case for this horse?
I love his name, Greg. Let's face it. It sort of reminds me like a Winnie the Pooh or something. You know?
Yeah.
If you look at Rum Tum Tugger, this is an 8-year-old gelding. And to be fair, Montclair is a 7-year-old, but he was claimed recently. So he's just running in an appropriate spot. And the only time he's been in the turf in a track that wasn't a hunt meet, which he ran in May, was at Delaware in a stake where he had no chance. The winner won by 6 lengths. His last 2 races in the turf, I think his form is totally sort of dressed down. And he's a competitive member of the field that's 8-1, and I think can get it done for Jonathan Shepard, one of the great trainers in the game. Looks a little wet. Is that?
Yeah, he does. And it's a cool day here, too.
He's sweating because because I picked him. I think
he's got high expectation, a lot of weight on those shoulders. Meanwhile, the entry Gabby was talking about, you got a good 1-2 punch. Speed with Louis Vale, and then the stalking ability of Indebted.
I agree. They're the perfect entry you want. Do you want 2-1 on them? I mean, listen, Louis Vale has run races fast enough to win this. The Diodoro barn, keep in mind that Robitrass, who's deputizing while Robertino Diodoro is on suspension for 2 weeks. I want to see them get a little liver, and they have had like no success in New York with their horses, and that concerns me a bit with this horse. But Indebted is a different trainer.
9-1 on Indebted.
No, Indebted is a 2B.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm talking about Rum Tum Tugger, who's your top selection in this race?
Rum Tum Tugger. You want to bet him now, don't you? You wish you could run
here's
off
the thing.
set.
That's why I think this pick 4 is so good today. I went literally 4 or 5 deep in this race, and I don't have him on my ticket.
No Rum Tum Tugger?
No.
So I can't root for him up here?
I prefer you did not.
I won't root too hard for him.
Is anyone going to keep this horse that we're looking at right here, company up close at all?
I think it's a reasonable question. You'd think that Blarp would. I mean, Blarp's a horse that's forwardly placed going shorter distances, and that's number 6, Blarp. So you would have to think that Irad Ortiz, who's not that aggressive, but I think would look to get him more in the game. The problem I have with the 6 Blarp is Rudy Rodriguez is 3 for 37 off the claim on the turf with a 58-cent ROI for every $2 bet over the last 5 years. And this is a guy who's great off the claim on the dirt.
Yeah. 9-2. There is Blarp moving in. Irad Ortiz Jr. aboard the entry. of Louisvale, the 2, and the 2B Indebted, favored on the board at 2-1. It's the start of the late pick 4. Send it upstairs to the voice of horse racing's Triple Crown for the call, Larry Colmus.
And here comes Louisvale, part of that favorite entry into the starting gate. Will be followed by Sunset District. Indebted moving in. They're now 5-2 on the board. In fact, Altar Boy has gone to the favorites role, at least right now, at 5-2. And there's one left to load. Rum Tum Tugger and Luis Saez coming up to the outside stall to complete the line. They're all in line, ready for a start. They're off. Louisvale goes out to the early lead. Doc's Legacy on the inside, away running in second. These two are 1-2 early, and they're clear from Montclair in third. Indebted is fourth on the outside as they make their way toward that first turn. Their break of another 2 lengths more. Back to Altar Boy, who follows in fifth. And then it's Blarp on the inside. 3 wide, Rum Tum Tugger, and Sunset District is last of them all. Louisvale and Angel Arroyo leading the way here through a soft first quarter mile in 25.57 seconds. And they're out there by 2 lengths heading on to the backstretch. Doc's Legacy tracks in second position. Montclair is third to the inside. Indebted follows fourth by another 2. And then it's Altar Boy in fifth, 5.5 lengths off the lead. They're followed by Rum Tum Tugger, Blarp, and the trailer is Sunset District. So they continue up the backstretch. Cruising through a 51.83 half mile. Louisvale continues to lead the way, isolated here by 2.5 lengths on Doc's Legacy in second. And then it's Montclair in third, followed by Indebted fourth, 4.5 lengths off the lead. And then it's Altar Boy, Rum Tum Tugger, Blarp, and Sunset District. Louisvale on top all the way so far. And in the clear after 3 quarters in 1:16.9. Louisvale by 2.5 to Doc's Legacy. And here comes Blarp, who has moved up on the outside into a contending spot in third. And then it's Montclair in fourth, Indebted to the outside fifth by another 2. Altar Boy still unhurried here, Rum Tum Tugger and Sunset District, and they're into the stretch. And it is still Louisvale. Blarp on the outside comes on. Doc's Legacy is third. Louisvale in front with a furlong to run. Angel Arroyo trying to hold on to this lead. On the outside is Blarp. Here comes Altar Boy. Altar Boy on the outside of Louisvale. Altar Boy up in time. Louisvale was second best. It's close for third, Indebted or Blarp. And then it was Doc's Legacy in 2:03.01.
Well, course record not set in this race. Louisvale got the lead all to himself, but in the end, Altar Boy comes and gets him.
The course record may have been set, but the final quarter for the winning horse in a 1.25 mile race may have been close to a track record. It feels like Jose Ortiz sort of knew he was going to win the whole way. I mean, he didn't really worry about the pace. He saved ground on the turn. As soon as he angled him out in the clear, he ran down the 2 Louisvale and everything his own way. And this drop down for Mike Maker got it done. I know Montclair got in a little bit of traffic in the stretch, but there was a reason they dropped him down, huh, Greg?
Yeah, no question here. 5-2-6 in the end. It's actually a photo for show. I believe it was Blarp, though, getting third place money there.
It was close. 2B
Yeah?
was coming. I don't know.
Well,
he would be
regardless.
try.
Right, regardless.
You wouldn't get paid if you bet him show.
Okay.
You betting show these days?
No, I'm not.
I know you haven't been here for a few weeks. I thought maybe you went out in California.
Altar Boy, 5th career win, 2nd win here on this turf course at Belmont. Wins for Mike Maker, Jose Ortiz, and 3 Diamonds Farm. And relatively easy victory as well.
It just felt like Jose was very confident. But I like about it is that Jose was saving ground until the very last instant because he made sure to cut the corner and give himself every chance to win. And maybe he needed it.
Winds up going off as co-favorite on the board. 5-2. It was the 6.
Your shoe cash your show bets on Blarp. How about Blarp at 3-1? He took all the late money, huh?
His price did come down. I believe he was 6-1 just a couple of minutes before post time. We're going to take a break in the action. We'll be back with the prices right after this. She touched the lives of so many, and her impact on horse racing will live on forever. We remember the late Penny Chenery right after this.
Eclipse Award winner Blame retired to stud with more than $4.3 million in earnings, including a historic victory over Zenyatta in the Breeders' Cup Classic. Now he's making a name for himself as an internationally successful stallion. In 2017, his top runners include stakes winner No Fault of Mine, Japanese star Resonator, and classic winner Singa, the dominant victor of this year's Grade 1 French Oaks, Blaine at Claiborne Farm.
Make Naira Bets your home for online horse racing and betting. Start earning your sign-up bonus right now. With Naira Bets, you can use our state-of-the-art website to bet on live horse racing at over 200 tracks around the world. Bet anywhere, anytime, using your computer or mobile device. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Build your bankroll with our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up now at NairaBets.com and start earning your sign-up bonus now. Naira Bets, racing's best play.
Back on Belmont Park Live and into the winner's circle, Jose Ortiz for trainer Mike Maker. 3 Diamonds Farm. It's Ultra Boy to start off the late pick 4.
Yeah, and, a nice winner at 5-2 to get it going. And, you know, these turf races are fun, the 1.25-mile races. It's one of the nice things about Belmont Park. We can run longer distance races around 2 turns.
How about my eyes as well?
It's an amazing call by you. That was a close photo. Look at that.
Very, very close. By the way, Ultra Boy moving to a new barn claimed by Greg DePrima. So Mike Maker gets a win with him, and now this horse moving on with a drop.
Tough guy to claim from, Mike Maker, especially with turf horses.
With more in the winner's circle, standing by with the winning rider, let's go downstairs to Gabby.
Thank you, Greg. Here with Jose Ortiz. And Jose, it looked at the top of the stretch that you were absolutely fully loaded. Bit of a confident ride. What was kind of going through your mind at the top of the stretch there?
I just want to swing out. I don't want to take a shot and go inside. I probably had the room, but I just was waiting for a clear run because I knew I had a lot of horse.
How are you kind of judging the pace towards the back of the pack as my hair is not cooperating with me?
I mean, I knew they were going slow, but I didn't think that the 2 horse was going to get the distance. He ran very well, but they went pretty slow. But I was very close to the others, but I didn't think he would get to the distance, and he ran very well.
And Jose, just to shift gears a little bit, obviously, with all of the news of the hurricane down in Puerto Rico, just checking in with you and your family and friends, what's been happening over the course of the past 24 hours?
I mean, as far as I know, everybody's okay. It's tough to communicate with them. It's no service. I mean, a lot of damage going on now, and hopefully the hurricane get out of the Puerto Rico soon.
Well, best wishes to you and your family and all your friends that might be affected down there.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Congratulations on this one as well. Greg?
Gabby, thank you. Yeah, Irma's hit that area. Now Maria is as well. We'll have more on all those hurricanes and how you can help out a little bit later on in the show. Nice win there by Jose Ortiz. And by the way, Luis Vale, Angel Arroyo, sitting on a very historic victory as well.
Yeah, 999 wins, but Larry Colmas just informed us he not only now has 999 wins, he was second there with Luis Vale, but he also has 999 seconds. That's consistency.
That is incredible. So we'll continue to watch Angel Arroyo and see when he can break that 1,000 mark barrier. But we'll see what comes first or second.
I think he'd like to hit 1,000 wins before 1,000 seconds.
Well, back in 1973, especially here at Belmont, who could ever forget what the great Secretariat accomplished? 31-length victory. Of course, Penny Chenery passed away over the course of the weekend. As we take a look at what's trending here, this is from Matt Schiffman. Rest in peace, Penny Chenery. Thank you for bringing us Secretariat and making me a horse racing fan forever. You will be missed. We absolutely, I think everyone in horse racing echoes those sentiments. Had a chance to meet her at the Eclipse Awards back in 2006. This is from Claiborne Farm. Beautiful wreath of red roses on Secretariat's grave from Secretariat, the one and only Facebook group in remembrance of Penny Chenery, hashtag RIP.
And he's one of very few horses, actually, at Claiborne Farm that's buried whole, right behind the office's Secretariat.
And, of course, when they found out and did the autopsy on him after he'd passed away, they found out his heart twice the size of a normal horse, which would make sense with what a performer he was. Of course, Penny Chenery, she actually got Secretariat after losing a coin toss with a Phipps family, what was then Wheatley stable, as to who would have first choice of foals from 2 meadow mares that had been bred to Wheatley's renowned stallion, Bold Ruler. We had a chance to catch up with her on the 25-year anniversary.
Oh, it was a zoo. So many people wanted us to win the Triple Crown. It hadn't been done in 25 years, and everybody really hoped it would happen. And of course, we did too, but we just had to get everything right and not get distracted. And I was being interviewed, and Lucian was being interviewed, and Ronnie, and there was just so much pressure. I don't look back on it as a fun time at all. Well, of course, he was beautiful, and he was big, and he was very talented. But he also was a show-off. He loved the attention, and but he wasn't cozy. Reva Ridge, who also almost won the Triple Crown, was very laid back, and you could come and scratch his nose and he'd put his head on your shoulder, but not Secretariat. He would nip and he would pretend to kick, and he wasn't mean. He was just full of himself. But he was, you just knew you were hanging around something larger than life. Oh, Reva was very special to me because he came at a time when the stable was under pressure to become profitable, and my brother and sister and others were beginning to question whether we should keep on with Dad's horses since he was no longer able to do it. And I very much wanted to, but I had to produce results. And here came this lop-eared, kind of homely, narrow-chested horse with a sweet disposition who really could run. And so his victories meant as much to me as Secretariat's because they were so important. I think if we hadn't had Reva Ridge, we might not have been able to keep Secretariat.
Of 1967, her father was limited by Alzheimer's. His wife, Helen, had passed away, and her brother and sister, Penny's brother and sister, designated her to take over the farm and the stable, and the rest was history.
It's an amazing story when you think about it. 40 years after he won the Triple Crown, roughly, Hollywood made a movie about both Secretariat and, of course, Penny Chenery as well. And it's just an incredible part of the story. I think so many people became fans. One of the first races I ever saw was watching his Kentucky Derby with my grandmother back in New York when I used to go visit her. And, of course, my grandmother was a big horse player. But it's a story that just lived on forever. And Penny Chenery is somebody that everybody in racing knows Secretariat, but they also know Penny Chenery because of her association with Secretariat.
And again, I mean, even in these times, if you take maybe the top 10 horses the last 20 years, there was probably nothing like the attention with Secretariat. He was on the cover of Time, Newsweek, Sports Illustrated. He was everywhere.
No, he's the biggest. I mean, you could argue that there's no horse. Even, you talk about the Zenyatas, the horses that people really know. Zenyatta, probably the most well-known horse, let's say, of the last decade or so by name. I don't think it's anything close to Secretariat.
Incredible legacy that Penny Chenery has left us in this game. Passed away at the age of 95 last Saturday in Boulder, Colorado. We're going to take a break in the action. Back in 2005, Charlotte Weber was honored with Arlington's Penny Chenery Distinguished Woman in Racing Award. She's creating a lasting legacy of her own. Her story when we come back.
They're off.
Los Alamitos Racecourse congratulates all of the connections of Los Alamitos Derby winner West Coast for his sensational victory in the Grade 1 Travers Stakes at Saratoga. Since our first meet in 2014, many of the top stars in thoroughbred racing have raced at Los Alamitos. Who will be next? Join us for the Los Alamitos Fall Thoroughbred Meet. Opening day is Thursday, September 7th.
You're watching Belmont Park Live, presented by Claiborne Farm. Getting set for race 7 coming up. This is a tweet from Claiborne Farm. Last night, Stardoza became freshman sire Datalink's first stakes winner while wiring the field by nearly 2 lengths. So congratulations. That, of course, was in the Mrs. Henry D. Paxton Memorial Stakes at Presque Isle. And here's a look at that performance. Gate to wire, wins by a length in 3/4 after having a maiden breaking win by 10 3/4 lengths. So this is a horse that could have a little future here.
Datalink's an amazing horse. You know, he's one of like 8 horses that broke his maiden on Cigar Mile Day to win a Grade 1.
Where do you find this information?
I have no life.
Datalink, of course, Grade 1 winning son of Warfront, who won the Maker's 46th mile, won or placed in 7 graded stakes over the course of his racing career, and earnings of over $830,000, now standing at Claiborne Farm. 7th race up next here. We're on the main track at 6.5 furlongs. Entry level allowance and 5 Beta Express. We're going to see that number come down even more. Right now, even money here for Danny Gargan. Back-to-back, just monstrous wins. Tried Grade 1 company, and that was a little bit over his head.
Yeah, he's been impressive. His maiden win was very good. He beat Tommy T, an extremely good second in Saratoga. He was very impressive, 2-back. He didn't even break that sharply that day. He was probably a length slow and still made the lead. But he's going to face serious pressure early, perhaps, from the 6 Grumple Stiltskin. So he could really be under the gun from down on the inside. This is a very interesting race, Greg.
Well, with more, we're going to check in down in the paddock, brought to you by Shadwell Farm, building speed for the future. Here's our paddock report. Let's go to Gabby Gaudet.
Thanks, Greg. And taking a look at the field, of course, all eyes will be on the 1 Phi Beta Express here, as he is maybe the main speed in here, and he's probably the most accomplished as well. And he draws the rail post position, which, of course, will help him in here as well. To me, in the paddock, he really looks no worse for the wear. I mean, when he came in, he was on his toes. He just kind of looks like a prize fighter. He's on his toes, good energy. He always seems like he conducts himself with a lot of confidence. So outside of the H. Allen Jerkins last time out, I really don't see any major differences, which I guess is a good sign. But again, he might have to turn back some other pace pressure to his outside, but physically I have no qualms with how he's looking and behaving. Like I said, he's just a good feeling horse. Now, the 2 Old to Buy is an interesting one too, because Kieran McLaughlin and jockey Jose Ortiz kind of had that conversation 2 starts back when he was facing Maiden Special Weight Company that he might need the addition of blinkers. So Kieran did put on the blinkers, regular full cut blinkers, just to get him to focus and break a little bit sharper, and that made all the difference last time out. But he was more forwardly placed in there. It was a surface that had a little bit of moisture. Kind of looks like he would move up on a surface with some moisture. Today, he's going to have to prove that he can effectively rate, which is a question mark, but he does still continue to take those steps forward. And lastly, the 3 Hard Scramble. Well, if a pace scenario does ensue, I think you got to pay attention to this horse. He just seems like a very cool customer. He's been behaving himself very well so far this afternoon, and unfortunately last time he was second to Beasley, but Beasley, of course, had back form as well. And of course, as always, Steve Asmussen horses, he just looks incredibly well turned out here today, guys.
Yeah, that's the problem with the Steve Asmussen horses. They all look good. It's hard to differentiate.
It's interesting coming back to New York because Toby Sheets, who's his assistant in New York, who handles the horses most of the year except when Steve is up in Saratoga, he does a fabulous job with his horses. But he's looking to be a recipient, obviously, a lot of a pace because the horse Hard Scramble ran against last time, and that's Hard Scramble we'll talk about. I think Grumple Stiltskin, the 6, is the one you really have to follow the conversation with because he's got significant speed. If you watch the start of his last race, he was completely sandwiched to start when the number 5 horse came out and forced him into the 3 hard scramble, and we'll see the head on. I mean, this is a speed horse, and he stayed back a length, coming off a layup, and he gets some daylight and shoots through there, and you're going to see how significant this trouble was. The 5 really comes over hard on him, takes him out of the race, and he's still able to scoot off the lead in what was an honest pace, and he ends up getting run down by good horses in Beasley and Hard Scramble. He's a very fast horse. When he broke his maiden 2 races back, Greg, that was a super gold rail on the inner track. But he's talented. Jeremiah Englehart took over his training, and he's going to be breathing down Phi Beta Express's neck at some point in this race. Is that going to take a toll on the favorite or maybe even him?
And keep in mind, this is his first start in 8 months. as well. And they're not the only two speeds in the race.
I agree. I mean, horses like Cowboys Hero has some speed in here.
Who's putting blinkers on.
Scramjet. Yeah, I mean, they could be forwardly placed as well. And with the advantage that Grumpelstiltskin, who's owned, of course, by August Dawn Farm, Bill Parcells' stable, he is outside of the one here. So that gives him an advantage to stalk and try to pounce. But will they set it up for the 3 hard scramble?
Yeah, let's get back to hard scramble here. So for Steve Asmussen, just missed by a nose last time out. That was at Saratoga in that Grumpelstiltskin race. Just nailed at the wire. He had to lead late.
Yeah, you don't like the fact that he's got the 8 starts and he's had the losses, but you look at the fields. I mean, he lost to Takaffel, who's going to be a major player in the Grade 1 Vosburg, second in his next start in the Allen Jerkins. Pattern Recognition, a talented horse, was second, and Hard Scramble was wide that day, and the rail was the place to be where Takaffel was. I think Hard Scramble is the logical, almost too obvious closer in a race packed with speed.
Next door to him, you have Old Dubai for Kieran McLaughlin, son of Tappet, and third start, he put it all together on a muddy racetrack at Saratoga.
Listen, anything's possible. Maybe the light has gone off, but I can't bet a horse that even Kieran McLaughlin was shocked he ran well last time, and I'm just wondering if it was the wet track that got him live.
Well, he put blinkers on for the first time, and yeah, it was a wet track, so maybe a combination of both, but maybe the equipment change.
Maybe it was. I mean, listen, he ran fast in this race. There is no denying it. And as Gabby alluded to, it wasn't a super, super sloppy wet track, but there was a lot of moisture in the track. The other thing is, he did it on the engine. How can he possibly win this race involved in the pace with horses like the 1 and 6 in here?
Yeah, that's a good point. There's too much speed in here. Cowboys Hero, we mentioned the 4 as well. Here comes our post parade, and here is Phi Beta Express. Those back-to-back wins, and then coming out of the Grade 1 Allen Jerkins.
Obviously, a very talented runner, was over his head in a Grade 1 last time, but will he get beaten up by early pace pressure?
Old Dubai. Jose Lezcano will be aboard for Kieran McLaughlin, the son of Tappet.
Has the pedigree to be a good one, but did he turn around a wet track? We'll find out.
Calumet Farm sends out Hard Scramble, trained by Steve Asmussen with Irad Ortiz Jr.
He looks very good on paper as the likeliest horse to pick up if there is a big pace duel in this race.
Yeah, more pace right next door with Cowboys Hero blinkers on for Abel Castellano.
This horse who broke his maiden in an allowance race at Delaware, faced a tough field last time out. He's a pace player.
Michelle Nevin sent out Skylar's Scramjet, turf to dirt.
Looked like a stakes horse in his maiden win, in his debut, and he has been awful in all of subsequent starts.
24-1, biggest price on the board. Grumpelstiltskin bumped, we showed you, and squeezed at the start of that last race.
This is a very talented runner for Bill Parcells' August Dawn Farm. Also was a great name.
And Glinda's Good Karma taking play here. 12-1 morning line, 9-2 right now.
I don't get it. This horse on speed figures looks like he should be 25-1. Is it smart money, or are they just looking at a big win against lesser?
Approaching the 5-minute mark to post for race 7 here at Belmont Park. Phi Beta Express, a big drop out of a Grade 1 to an entry-level allowance. Will that be the winning move and get him back to the winner's circle? We'll find out next.
Shadwell Farm, home to world-class stallions, presents 2 young stars. Mo Heyman, undefeated 2-year-old, multiple graded stakes winner at 2 and 3. A dazzling son of Tappet, winner of his first 5 career starts, 4 in graded stakes. Grade 1 winner, Tamarcuz, winner of the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. This son of Speightstown was a top international miler that earned over $1.8 million. Shadwell Farm, building speed for the future.
Back on Belmont Park Live, it has been a tough time with the natural disasters hitting all across the U.S. and the Caribbean. Of course, we've seen Hurricane Harvey, Irma, and now Maria doing damage. Irma caused $1 billion worth of damage to Puerto Rico alone. Total losses from the three storms are being estimated at $300 billion or more across the U.S. and the Caribbean. And, of course, a 7.1 earthquake hit Mexico City. Dozens of buildings toppled, over 200 dead. You can contribute and help with all these causes by going to Red Cross, also helping by going to UNICEF Mexico, Red Cross Mexico, and help give back and rebuild these communities. You can text 90999 for an immediate $10 donation to Red Cross to help support disaster relief and the Red Cross. We are 2 minutes to post here in race 7. Coming up, an even money favorite in Phi Beta Express, but no reason that this horse has to necessarily win this race. There's some other options in here.
This is a very tough field, and this is an unusually tough non-winners of one. But he's good. Glinda's good karma, the 7. Where is all the money coming for a horse that got a 73 buyer at Parks in its debut and a 71 buyer in the slop and breaking its maiden? And I'm not saying the speed figures are everything, but he's picked quite a tough spot here. So is this smart money? I tend to think the money's pretty smart around here. So I feel as though smart people are seeing something that I don't see at all.
This is a prime example of when we talk about letting the tote board be your friend and help you out. So, yeah, a lot of money. Maybe it's smart money here on this 7 horse. With more on this group, let's go to Gabby.
Thanks, Greg. And you guys bring up good points on the 7, and maybe they're simply betting him because he seems to be one of the closers in the race. But talking about the pace in the race, well, the 4 Cowboys Hero, the blinkers do go on him today, and just French cut blinkers go on him. And I was asking Abel Castellano kind of what the purpose is, and he said they really want to get him out of the gate and get him forwardly placed. So obviously that doesn't bode well for potentially the favorite. It doesn't really bode well for some of those other horses who have early speed, and one of them too is the 6 Grumpelstiltskin. Now he might be benefited from having the outside post position, but just watching both of these horses kind of make their way onto the track and get a warm up, it kind of feels like the 4 Cowboys Hero might show a little bit more early lick, whereas the 6 Grumpelstiltskin, and look, this is the first time I really paid attention to how he's behaving on the track, but he just seems like a really cool customer. Doesn't look like a horse that would have as much speed as he has. Now, circling back to the 3 Hard Scramble, whether or not the pace scenario kind of develops in how we think it will, don't you kind of have to lean on this horse a little bit, especially Andy and Greg, because this is a horse who's won or done well forwardly placed and has been successful closing as well, so at least he's tactical.
Yeah, at least you got options with it. So I just, you brought it up before. I don't think he's as quick as the other horses in here.
No, I agree, but Gabby's right. What Gabby's basically saying is if they don't end up burning up front, it's not like he's going to find himself 8 lengths behind and nowhere. Right. And that's why we talk about this. You want to see a rider always look to be a little aggressive out of the gate and then let the race develop in front of you. Don't just come out of the gate assuming they're going to send and take your horse back.
Yeah, you got to see how it plays out of the gate. So that's the task for Irad Ortiz Jr. on Hard Scramble, but it's Phi Beta Express, the 1 with Kendrick Carmouche. His win at Saratoga was sensational. Dropping out of the Grade 1, Alan Jerkins, he is now odds on, was 4 to 5, even money right now. Let's send it upstairs for the call. Race 7, the voice of New York racing, Larry Colmus.
Grumpelstiltskin goes into the starting gate. Here's Glinda's Good Karma. Up to the outside stall under Paco Lopez to complete the line. They're all in line, ready for a start. They're off. Phi Beta Express sent along from the inside. Skylar Scramjet's got speed too. Grumpelstiltskin is up and on the pace and in 3rd early on. Break of 2 back to Glinda's Good Karma, who settles into stride just ahead of Hard Scrambled Old Dubai and the trailer Cowboys Hero. Phi Beta Express in front. Skylar Scramjet clings to him though through this first quarter mile. 3/4 of a length behind. Grumpelstiltskin is 3rd to the outside. The first quarter's up in 22.31. Old Dubai follows in 4th, 4 lengths off the lead as they round the far turn. Glinda's Good Karma next by another 2. Then it's Hard Scramble taken to the outside. And last of them all in saving ground is Cowboys Hero. Around the far turn, Phi Beta Express opens up 2.5. Grumpelstiltskin on the outside up into 2nd. Skylar Scramjet retreats to 3rd. Trying to come on now is Cowboys Hero, who's been swung to the outside, 5 lengths behind. 44.98 the half. They're into the stretch. Phi Beta Express and Kendra Carmouche come to the 8th pole in front by 3. And then it's Grumpelstiltskin running along in second. On the outside, Skylar Scramjet comes back, now takes second, and is trying to close the gap at 30-1. Phi Beta Express, here's Skylar Scramjet. Gonna get there at a huge price under John Velasquez at 30-1. Phi Beta Express was second, and then a photo, Cowboys Hero and Grumpelstiltskin in 116.24.
30-1 shot. Takes race 7 here. Skylar Scramjet for Michelle Nevin with John Velasquez. Unreal.
A friend of mine told me before the race he used 6 to 7. Everybody but Skylar Scramjet, I said, you have nothing to worry about. How about the fact that he pushed the one a little bit early, and they didn't go that fast, but it was an honest pace, obviously. These are talented horses. And he dropped back in the turn, and he came back on to win. And as we said, he ran a big race in his debut, but he has been absolutely dreadful since then. That's why they run the races, Greg. They don't run them on paper.
Well, if you just looked at that debut, you say this horse has some talent trying to get back to what he did in that first out performance, and now back with Michelle Nevin, who had him then.
2 for 2 for Michelle Nevin. Clearly, she has the answer to this horse. This was some performance. He didn't just get lucky to win this because he's the only horse that really challenged the one at all in this race. But, boy, Phi Beta Express looked absolutely home free. But I'm going to argue, Greg, I don't think he fell apart. I think the winner came and got him. It's not like the race was collapsing at the end.
No, a huge effort. And there's Michelle Nevin. I'd be a little more excited than that, right?
Michelle takes it in stride.
30-1 shot, taking the 7th here at Belmont. Where are the fireworks? By the way, who's that clown who used all but one?
He's some guy. I feel sorry for him, but he can't help it.
We're going to take a break. We're going to talk West Coast, returning back out east. Easy goer Travers. What's next for him? We'll be back right after this.
Undefeated in sprint competition, Eclipse champion Run Happy captured 3 Grade 1 victories and set blistering speed records at both Keeneland and Saratoga. In the Breeders' Cup Sprint, he dominated the world's fastest runners, going 6 furlongs in a record-breaking 108 and change. The only horse nominated for 3 Eclipse Awards, Run Happy was crowned champion male sprinter, all the while racing 100% drug-free. Champion, millionaire, record breaker, Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back on Belmont Park Live, and the horse that no one figured had a chance in this race, 30-1 shot. Skylar Scramjet wins for Michelle Nevin with John Velasquez.
Listen, it's one of the things, even when, and this is a very frustrating horse for a lot of us, a tough horse to use 30-1, but it's one of the reasons that you love the game so much. It's a painful game in playing, but you can make cases for horses. Like, I'm not saying I didn't like this horse. But if somebody said, hey, Michelle Nevin had this horse for one horse, got an 84 buyer, very impressive, gave it to another trainer, goes back to Michelle Nevin, she's a good trainer, say, okay, it's 30-1, you want to take a shot. I wouldn't have agreed with you, but there's so many different ways to find winners, and this horse won and paid $63. Tough for me, but somebody had it.
Incredible. Huge price. A pick 3 there, $714. It comes back. Let's head downstairs to Gabby.
Thanks, Greg. And here with the winning trainer, Michelle Nevin. Congratulations. And 30-1, first of all, were you surprised?
Not surprised. I mean, he's always been a nice horse. He's been a bit of a confusing horse. You know, Mike's done a great job with him, but I guess it's come down to maybe finding a rider that fits good with him. And I think Johnny did an unbelievable job.
And when you say he's kind of a quirky horse, what do you mean by that? Because the last couple of races, he kind of went through a lull, but showed an immense amount of talent in his debut.
He did, and that's where I think we were like a little thrown off by him, because we kind of expected him to go forward right off his win, his maiden win. But, you know, sometimes it just takes these horses a little time to mature and move on.
Absolutely. And in his debut, where he was so impressive, he was forwardly placed. He was on the lead. Were you impressed by his performance today, that he could kind of take back and then catch the second place finisher?
Yeah, I was very impressed by him today, to where, you know, it looked like Johnny was about to run out of horse, and then he re-rallied again, you know, once he got in the clear, and maybe that's the key to him.
All right. Well, maybe Johnny has found the key to success, and so have you, Michelle. Congratulations.
Thanks.
All right, Greg.
Gabby, thank you. Yeah, we mentioned again, won the debut in Michelle Nevin's barn. Back with her now and working well in the morning. Yeah, after the fact, I can absolutely make the case.
Yeah, well, it's easier to make cases for horses after the race. There's no question about it. But, you know, I think what Michelle's saying is true. You have a horse in your barn. You know somewhere in them they have this good race. But most of the time, this horse has gone out there and run lousy.
$63 winner in the 7th here at Belmont. New York Racing Association, the leader in providing Spanish language content. Luis Grandison and Darwin Vizcaya provide pre-race analysis. It's all available on the NYRA Now app and in HD. Here's Luis with the call of West Coast taking the Travers at Saratoga.
Cloud Computer entra segundo. West Point mantiene la punta, está botando con Mike Smith. West Point y Bob Buffer se ganan de Travers. Segundo está arribando Gunnar Vera. Tercero está finalizando Hyrard. De cuarto se mete Tabridge.
Well, he just keeps stealing the money every time he comes out east. He's going to be coming east again this weekend in the Pennsylvania Derby, but the Travers, just a brilliant effort from him on the lead every step of the way.
He was very good in there. But, you know, this Pennsylvania Derby is not a layup for him. It's a much different race than the Travers. There appears to be a lot more speed in there, and he's going to have to rate and win. Now, obviously, he's rated in the past and won. He's looking to become, I'd have to say, Greg, the leader of this division if he could win the PA Derby. Is that fair?
Oh, and without question, yeah, he's reeled off 4 in a row. This would be, obviously, it's a grade 1 now this year, so that would be 5 straight for him. But what he's done, certainly coming to the East Coast, been incredible. That Los Al Derby was basically a walkover for him.
Yeah.
But he was that was a good field he beat in the Travers.
Yeah, and I mean, clearly the Kentucky Derby was always dreaming, and he did win the grade 1 Florida Derby. But I think these races at this point would mean more.
So that is coming up. Mile and an 1/8 test again for West Coast on Saturday. And Baffert's Philly, who's the leader of her division, back in action as well. That, of course, Abel Tasman, winner of the Coaching Club American Oaks. It was filled with controversy and this battle with Elate down the stretch.
Controversy or not, the way Elate ran the Alabama certainly flattered Abel Tasman. And she's in a position where she's going to be a tough one to unseat as the 3-year-old champion. But I suppose if Elate was able to beat older horses in the Beldame at Belmont, and she's pointing for that race for Claiborne Farm, and maybe finish ahead of this one, the Breeders' Cup, she'd have a chance. But I got to think if Abel Tasman can overcome the outside post, she's a post 11, I think, and win her 4th straight grade 1, how is she not 3-year-old filly champion?
She is 8-5 on the morning line. She's going to be a shorter price than that, you would think, certainly on Saturday. And Mike Smith making the return trip with her back to the East Coast. And Baffert and Mike Smith, certainly when they come to New York, they've been almost unbeatable. We'll see if that continues at Parks.
Yeah, this is a competitive race. My horse Actress draws an inside post. What do you think? You love Actress. She's
I've
your
been big
favorite
on
horse.
Actress.
I've stolen her from you. She's my horse.
Yeah,
now.
I realized that, but yeah, we'll see. Still her best moment, of course, the Black-Eyed Susan. We'll see if she can get back in the winner's circle. This is a good group, but Abel Tasman certainly the one to beat in the leader of that 3-year-old filly division. Going to take a break in the action. We will be back. Our feature race is still to come. The Joseph A. Gemma 7 furlongs for 2-year-old fillies, and Burning Rose blossoming perhaps at just the right time. We'll be back.
Grade 1 winner Data Link by world-renowned sire Warfront. Data Link scored in the prestigious Grade 1 Makers 46 Mile at Keeneland. Then set a new course record in the Grade 2 Monmouth Stakes. With a pedigree free of Mr. Prospector in the first 4 generations, Data Link is the perfect outcross option. His first weanlings turned heads, selling well above the stud fee. Data Link at Claiborne Farm.
Hi, I'm Kendrick Carmouche, and you're watching Belmont Park live.
I don't think I can say it better than Kendrick Carmouche. He welcomed us back to the show. It's presented by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual, unusually well. Welcome to Belmont Park Live as we get set for another hour of action coming up, including our feature race, the Joseph A. Gemma 2-year-old fillies. Going 7 furlongs. Greg Wolf, Andy Serling, Gabby Gaudette with you here on this Wednesday afternoon of action here at Big Sandy. And we're about 17 minutes to post here in our feature.
I'm a little concerned. It's clear that Kendrick can do our job. We can't do his
No,
job,
we
but he
cannot.
can clearly take ours. So I'm a little worried.
He's a talented young man, of course, from Cajun Country, and Mike Venezia award winner from earlier this year. And he had a decent Saratoga meeting as well.
He's a reliable rider. You know, Saratoga's tough. You go to Saratoga, it's just tough. So much of the business so focused on some of the top riders. But Kendrick has done extremely well in New York, and he's a thinking man's rider, and I appreciate him a lot.
Very dangerous, too, when he's out on the front end. I want to remind everyone to get signed up, started, play along. Go to NYRABets.com. If you bet 100, you'll get 100 in your account. Use the promo code LIVE to take advantage. You can play with Naira Bets all across the country, including this next race to play. About 15 minutes to post here in the Ace. 7 furlongs. New York-bred 2-year-old fillies in the Joseph A. Gemma and Burning Rose. Right now, wow, not your favorite, Newport Breeze getting hammered on the board at 3-5.
The board has been funny today. We saw all that money, how the horse was cold, dropping down in race 6. We saw the money in the 7 for no reason last race, but they knew Grumpelstiltskin wasn't going to run. To be fair, if you look at doubles and you look at pick 3s, the 1 Burning Rose is the favorite over the 7 Newport Breeze. So it'll be interesting to see these horses sort of merge as we get closer in odds.
Well, meanwhile, Burning Rose, only start for her. The good news, it did come at 7 furlongs, so she's tested at this distance. It came at Saratoga end of August, and she just ran away from the competition.
She was very good that day. I mean, she was fast. That's a 75 buyer figure for a 2-year-old. His first start, 7 furlongs. A lot of credit to the trainer, Dominic Scatino, for getting her ready for that race. The difference today is, and we did see horses around the rail do well in the last race, but I think it's been a fair track throughout the meet pretty much here at Belmont. The 3 Paws for the Cause, the 5 Girls Dance Party, both have extreme speed. They're going to make her run a little bit harder early than she had this maiden race, Greg.
Well, she absolutely ran away from the group here. This was a 6-horse group, and at this point, it was lights out, party over. So, yeah, we'll see if she can handle some heat there from the inside. As you mentioned, a ton of pace in here. And it certainly looks like drawn inside. She showed speed in the debut. She's got to go.
She has to go. She has no choice. You know Kendrick is going to go. And we'll see how aggressive is Ira Ortiz on Paws for the Cause. Jose Ortiz with Girls Dance Party we'll get to. She's not slow coming from Finger Lakes. And I'll say something. The 7 Newport Breeze. Was there a weirder performance than this horse at Saratoga?
Oh.
Up near the front, plummeted through the field like she was going to be eased, and came back and rallied. She seems like a horse, and watch her here. She's sitting second. This pace collapsed. Now, keep in mind, this is a pretty slow race in the terms of, speed figures and stuff. She's plummeting in here like she's going to be eased. I mean, you watch her. Jose seemed to lose. She sort of lost her action. The only thing we could come up with was she was behind horses, and maybe she took some kickback and wasn't comfortable, because when she re-rallies, even though it's on the inside, there's separation. It feels like she got away from kickback, but this was strange.
It was one of the more bizarre performances we saw the entire meet. Yeah, everyone thought when we were watching this race, absolutely, pulled up, done, out of the race, and then just completely re-rallies. But we'll see. I mean, before this, was close throughout.
She's not slow. I mean, she has the speed to be close. And that was a funny race because in relative terms, it was a very fast pace. And especially compared to the final time, the race sort of collapsed at the end. But here she was on the pace for a quarter of a mile, dropped back. She was sort of her own rabbit.
Yeah.
She dueled the leaders into submission, dropped back to last, and re-rallied to almost win. The one thing that concerns me is, from a speed figure standpoint, it came up a very slow race.
Mm-hmm.
So was it a bit of an illusion? Was everybody stopping in front of her?
Well, even if that's the case,
it's still weird.
It's still, one, it's still weird, but two, if she doesn't do that, obviously she's got talent to be able to do that even in a slow race, right?
And she ran well in her prior race where she got a much better speed figure ring at Del Mar. Now, is the 6 Miss Mystique sort of the logical closer if the race totally falls apart? Is she the one reliable closing type?
Yeah, certainly looks like she is, right? First time out, very professional effort from off the pace, and then she overcame stumbling out of the gate next time out to run similarly good, same kind of style.
Yeah,
She's taking no money.
She's
by
a
the way.
very big price here, and I don't think she should be totally ignored. The problem with her is, from a speed figure standpoint, she hasn't run very quickly. But that doesn't mean these are lightly raced young horses that can improve with leaps and bounds from one start to the next. And this could be a race that gets very hungry, as we like to say, in the stretch, and she might be the one who's running the best at the end.
Yeah, we'll find out. She's got a couple of starts under her belt. We know where she is going to be coming from as well, from off the pace. But with more on Burning Rose to the inside, let's go to Gabby.
Thank you, Greg. And I just spoke to Dominic Scatino briefly because they decided to kind of take her to the back walking ring and saddle her and try to keep her kind of calm, cool, and collected. But he did say that she was super professional first time out at Saratoga. But in the time between, just because she's so lightly raced, they took the time, schooled her here at Belmont, and she looks to be handling herself extremely well. She just looks very professional, and for a 2-year-old filly that's only raced one time, this is everything you want to see in a horse's behavior. So all good things for her. And then the 7 Newport Breeze, well, the money's coming in because, as you guys were alluding to, she had a very bizarre trip last time out. And I checked in with Brittany Urton and Peter Urton just to see kind of what their thoughts were of that last race. And Jose Ortiz had come back and said she was not reacting to the dirt that was getting into her face because she was kind of down behind horses on the inside. She reacted to that. She fell back and then she surged again. But since then, she's been training here at Belmont with John Toscano. And they said that, she looks fantastic here today. She's on her toes and she's ready to go. So maybe the money is speaking here, guys, but I do think the one Burning Rose looks pretty legitimate.
All right, Gabby, thanks. That's our paddock report brought to you by Shadwell Farm. Building speed for the future. 4-5 on Newport Breeze. Interesting.
I picked her, but they've gone overboard right now. We'll see how it sort of plays out. It's an interesting field. With these lightly raced horses, there are any number of these horses that could move forward. You've got two horses, the 4 and 5, both coming off at least visually impressive maiden wins, if not super fast.
Yeah, Aunt Babe, the 4. Trained by Carlos Martin, 7.5 length scorer. And it came at Belmont back on September the 8th, beating an 11-horse field that day.
Though what worries me a little bit is whether or not she can come back just 12 days after breaking her maiden. It's a $150,000 race. I can completely understand why the connections want to run, and I appreciate them running. More people should be this aggressive and run, and it can work both ways. But she's going to have to improve in those 12 days. And the other thing is, maybe she can rate more in her future, but the way she won this race was near the front end, and they're going to be moving a little bit up front.
Yeah, even though she won, it's deceiving. Large margin, but in terms of the actual race and how good she does need to improve, right?
Yeah, I mean, margins are so funny, right? Because a lot of times margins have more to do who is behind the horses than necessarily the talent. But listen, she didn't, as they say, didn't do anything wrong, and she ran fast enough that she's at worst competitive.
Well, we saw a 30-1 shot win in the last race. Got a 68-1 shot to it here.
Well, Angel Arroyo looking for win 1,000. That would be certainly a big way to get your thousands win, a memorable way. This horse did stumble at the start last time, and stumbled badly, by the way.
Yeah, before that was second in a stakes race, although that was a race that was scheduled for the grass.
That 34 Buyer is not getting it done.
It was taken off the turf as we look at trainer John Toscano.
Yeah, this is a funny race because I feel as though these horses are sort of all unknowns. You know, they're presence that you don't know what's inside of them.
Well, as you said, 2-year-old fillies, you can improve by leaps and bounds from start to start. Our post parade brought to you by OCD Pellets, celebrating their 10th anniversary of supporting the equine industry with their 2-in-1 bone and joint supplement. For more information, go to OCDpellets.com. Here is Burning Rose, Kendrick Carmouche for Dominic Schettino.
If she's able to duplicate her winning performance in her debut, she will be very hard to beat here.
Chester and Mary Broman send out Held Accountable, trained by Phil Serpi with Luis Saez.
Very impressive winning her debut, but that was on grass, and she is really more bred for the turf than dirt.
We're going to see plenty of speed with Pause for the Cause for Chester and Mary Broman. For Kieran McLaughlin.
You have to imagine she'll be forwardly placed as well, maybe trying to help Held Accountable. Is she fast enough?
Carlos Martin sends out Aunt Babe, filly by Desert Party.
Just 12 days ago, she broke her maiden impressively at Belmont. Can she improve on that in less than 2 weeks?
Girls Dance Party. Jeremiah Engelhardt trainee, Jose Ortiz aboard.
An easy winner at Finger Lakes in her debut, but that might be a race that's a little better than it looks on paper.
Treadway Racing Stable sends out Miss Mystique, trained by Leah Germani with Rajiv Mirage.
Could she be the long shot closer in a race packed with speed?
Newport Breeze still odds-on favorite right now with Joel Rosario for Peter Erden.
Be very curious to see how she runs today after an odd last race. She probably benefits from drawing outside as opposed to inside.
And 58-1 long shot Beau Arts for Russell Cash has Angel Arroyo looking for career win number 1,000.
She's a long shot for a reason, but she did stumble very badly at the start of her last.
That is your field for the Joseph A. Gemma here, our feature for 2-year-old fillies going 7 furlongs, and the Southern California shipper who was in the Seeking the Ante at Saratoga. Looking to get over the hump here in New York and get the second win of her career. We'll find out if she can do it next.
Multiple Grade 1 winner First Samurai by Giants Causeway got off to a quick start at stud, siring Grade 1 winners in each of his first 3 crops. His talented son Lee captured the Grade 1 Don Handicap in record time and retired to stud with over $2.3 million in earnings. Sovereign Award nominee Stack Deck captured the Grade 3 Bold Venture Stakes and Grade 2 Kennedy Road Stakes, both just to tick off track record times. First Samurai at Claiborne Farm.
Back on Belmont Park Live, presented by Claiborne Farm. We're approaching the 2-minute mark to post in our feature race for 2-year-old fillies going 7 furlongs in the Joseph A. Gemma. When we are done, more opportunities to play tonight. Woodbine getting started at 6:45 Eastern Time. You can accumulate reward points with Naira Bets faster on Wednesdays with 10 times points on all bets at Gulfstream and at Woodbine. Redeem those points online anytime for wagering credits that immediately fund your account. Go to NairaBets.com, get signed up, started, and rack up those points. All right, let's get back to our feature race here coming up as we take a look at Girls Dance Party. We talked about Aunt Babe won by 7.5 first time out. Girls Dance Party, the 5, won by 7.25 in the debut, although that came at Finger Lakes.
Yeah, I get the feeling that this is either a no-chance horse or a very clever horse. I watched the replay from Finger Lakes. I will say the rider really rode this horse strongly in that race. So it's not one of these horses who was just sort of under cruise control to get it done. And this horse broke his maiden the same day she did that Burning Rose did, Girls Dance Party. Jeremiah Englehart's a very, very good trainer. Don't forget, he runs a lot of horses at Finger Lakes. I'm not going to be shocked when she takes a step forward and is competitive in this race, Greg.
Grabs your attention a little bit, too, who she draws on board, right?
Right. Jose Ortiz is riding this horse, and it'll be interesting. I mean, who is going to be able to step forward not only in their second start, but who's going to be able to improve at 7 furlongs? And how is she going to be ridden? Because a lot of times first-time stars will win as speed horses, but ultimately they don't end up as speed horses later in their careers.
And it looks like there's a lot of pace, but yeah, maybe there is someone who maybe can outquick everybody in here. Pause for the Cause to 3, another intriguing runner. She'll make her third start today with more on this filly. Let's go to Gabby.
Thanks, Greg. And watching Girls Dance Party, I actually watched that replay too, and I got dizzy watching that replay. I think maybe Andy can relate, but she definitely looks like one that could be forwardly placed. But the 3 Pause for a Cause, this filly intrigues me. When she got out to the track, I thought that she just has a lot of good energy. She's dappled from head to toe, and physically, she looks like she wants more distance. So I know she's only getting a little bit more distance. Last time out, went 6.5 furlongs. Today, just getting the 7. But she's kind of got that elongated physical build to her. So I think that she'll move forward with distance. But obviously last time out and her first 2 starts, she was forwardly placed. Will she be caught up in a pace stool, perhaps? I did get the chance to speak to Kieran McLaughlin, and he said, you know, we're going into it today seeing if she can rate. We're going to try to take her back from off of the pace. He's not condoning maybe Irad Ortiz fighting her early. He's kind of going to just get her into stride. But he said she kind of did all the dirty work last time out in the Seeking the Ante. She came out of that race really well with the local work. So she's really just progressing nicely. But the key is today, perhaps, guys, to get her to rate.
Interesting. So we'll see. Looks like new tactics for Pause for the Cause.
Well, it certainly helps Burning Rose. I don't know if it's going to help Pause for the Cause. And I think that I understand what Kieran's saying. What Kieran's basically saying is, listen, if we send her in this race, she's going to get engaged with Burning Rose. If not others, she's got to get 7 furlongs. I don't think I can win with that strategy. So let's find out what she can do. And at the end of the day, a lot of times early in their careers, you want to experiment. I mean, obviously you want to win these races, but maybe she'll run last trying to rate, but maybe she was going to run last if she was aggressive anyway.
Well, it's so funny. I mean, there's 2 different games going on. The bettors trying to win these races and figure out what these horses are going to do. And trainers, yeah, it's a learning experience. They're trying to figure out what can be best for these horses down the line so they can be at their best.
Absolutely. And as a bettor, you have to think about those things. You have to say to yourself, what is this guy thinking in this race? And obviously, you have to make a lot of decisions. It's not as though the connections don't want to win. Because at the end of the day, the most important thing is they want to win the race. But Kieran's thinking, what's the best way I can try to win this race, and he's decided that perhaps being aggressive won't be the best way.
The even money favorite for the Joseph A. Gemma, the SoCal shipper, Newport Bree, second start here in New York. We'll see if she can pick up the second win of her career. There she is for trainer Peter Erden. Let's send it upstairs for the voice of New York racing with the call, Larry Colmus.
Just a couple left to load here as Aunt Babe makes her way up to the starting gate to stall 4, and she will be followed into line by the long shot in the field, Bozar. Even money on Newport Breeze as Bozar comes up to the starting gate and moves in. They're all in line. They're off in the Joseph A. Gemma. And Pause for the Cause comes out running well. On the outside, Beaux-Arts goes up to grab the lead, so the long shot will take over and open up a length and a half. And then it's Aunt Babe, Burning Rose off the pace today, running along in fourth, 4.5 lengths off the lead. Then it's Held Accountable. Newport Breeze is 8 lengths behind early on. Miss Mystique is next. Girls Dance Party is last of them all through the first quarter mile in 23.31 seconds. Beaux-Arts is the leader. Pause for the Cars sent up alongside now, just a half length behind. And then it's Aunt Babe and Burning Rose fourth on the inside. Held Accountable follows in fifth. And then it's Miss Mystique, followed by Newport Breeze. Newport Breeze, a good 8 lengths off the lead right now, being motivated to go. And then Girls Dance Party at the back of the pack. Beaux-Arts, Pause for the Cause, Aunt Babe coming up to them, Burning Rose is right behind them, and then it's Held Accountable in fifth. Newport Breeze starting to move on the outside of Miss Mystique after a 47.13 half, and they're coming to the top of the stretch. And it is Pause for the Cause who turns for home with the lead here. Beaux-Arts has given way. Burning Rose trying to make a run through on the inside. Held Accountable is coming too. Newport Breeze is down the center with work to do. Here's Held Accountable. Held Accountable takes the lead on the outside. Burning Rose into second on the rail. Newport Breeze is third. Pause for the Cause back to fourth. Held Accountable, and Luis Saez do it by 2.5 on the wire over Burning Rose. Newport Breeze was third, and then it was Pause for the Cause in 125.27.
Nine to 1 on Held Accountable for trainer Phil Serpy. Luis Saez with the win.
Well, she had a turf pedigree, but she ran well in the dirt. She may have run better in here. This was an oddly run race. The 7 looked like she wasn't running at all. She made a bit of a run. They rated the 1, but you know what? Held Accountable, she was best.
Absolutely was best, and another big price here. And it's becoming a very, very difficult sequence on this Wednesday afternoon.
I got to think in the pick 6, there will be 4 of 6s for most of the horses in here. But you know what? Held Accountable got an excellent ride by Luis Saez, split horses, and proved to be the best horse in here. No excuse for either the 1 or 7. 1 rated a little bit, but she had an easy run down the inside. We've seen the inside be good. And frankly, Newport Breeze, she took a while to pick it up, but she picked it up around the turn and looked like she might run them all down and had every chance in the world to run down the stretch, and she wasn't good enough. Held Accountable was better than the others.
Well, and as you said earlier, you just never know. With these kinds of races, lightly raced youngsters, they can improve so fast, and we saw that with Held Accountable.
No, and you see, of course, Lisa, who works with Phil Serpy, is obviously very happy about the win. It's nice to see the Bromans get a win. There's Phil Serpy, of course, the trainer, and the Bromans are such an important part of not just racing in New York, but also the whole New York bred breeding program. I mean, they have been a big part of it for many, many years, and they're still breeding. I mean, this is a horse they bred, and they won the big race.
Yeah, homebred form gets the job done. Daughter of Exchange Rate out of an AP Indy mare, New Harmony. Held Accountable in the Joseph A. Gemma. Perfect 2 for 2 now to start out her career. We're going to take a break in the action. It's a millionaire maker for Live Oak Plantation. World Approval, of course, the latest from Win Approval. The story of this once-in-a-lifetime broodmare and the farm when we come back.
Make Naira Bets your home for online horse racing and betting. Start earning your sign-up bonus right now. With Naira Bets, you can use our state-of-the-art website to bet on live horse racing at over 200 tracks around the world. Bet anywhere, anytime, using your computer or mobile device. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Build your bankroll with our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up now at NairaBets.com and start earning your sign-up bonus now. Naira Bets, racing's best play.
Watching Belmont Park live on MSG Plus. Held accountable with the victory in the Joseph A. Gemma, $21.40. Perfect 2 for 2 now. She actually debuted on the turf at Saratoga. And now proving she can get it done on the dirt as well. For more, let's send it downstairs to Gabby.
Thank you, Greg. Well, turf to dirt seemed to be a winning move here. But before we went on air, Phil, you said you had a little bit of a story behind Held Accountable. Well, now's your time. What's the story?
Well, we're at the starting gate or near the starting gate. Mr. Broman, his farm manager, Greg, and myself, and this filly's about to get her gate card. And so we pop her out of the gate and we watch her outwork 2 of our other 2-year-olds that were pretty nice horses and in hand. And we're all looking at each other saying, so why are we running this filly on the turf first time out? But anyway, she has turf pedigree, obviously. We had another filly to run on the dirt who actually finished 3rd or first start. And but we were very confident today that this filly could do this. We were not surprised that she won this race. You know, you always have to be hopeful, but we really think a lot of this filly.
Well, obviously, in moving forward, she's clearly accomplished on the turf. She's accomplished on the dirt. You think you'll probably keep her on the dirt moving forward, though?
Well, I would say so, given the 2-year-olds in this time of year, and there's really not a lot of turf races available, especially for the New York breds until they turn 3. So I would think that that's what we'll do. I'll have to talk to Mr. Broman about it, but, you know, again, it's just another nice bred horse by the Bromans.
And talking about the Bromans, that was going to be my next question. They've been a mainstay in terms of, you know, owning in New York and breeding in New York. It must feel incredible to get this win with them today.
You know, again, as in Saratoga, I'm sorry that Mike Hushin retired, but it created an opportunity for us. This was one horse that Mike had, and Mike always thought a lot of this horse, for the record. And, you know, it's just great training for people like the Bromans, because they're all well-meant horses, and they're very good people to deal with. And Mr. Broman's just a champ about things.
Absolutely. Great connections to win for, and congratulations to you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, they've, from turf to dirt, anywhere in between, it looks like Held Accountable's pretty talented, guys.
Gabby, thank you. As you look at the Bromans there, and yeah, they got all kinds of options with this filly now.
Well, the Maid to the Mist, which is the 2-year-old race on New York Bred Showcase Day, or Empire Showcase Day, which is on October 21st at 1 mile. You'd have to think that's where she's going, and the fact that she can run on the dirt makes it so much easier for them. They'll probably exhaust dirt options before going back to the turf, but you're right, she's got talent on all surfaces.
So Held Accountable reigns supreme in the feature for 2-year-old fillies. We have still more racing to come. We're going to close things out with the 9th race here in just a little bit. Of course, we saw on the 4-star Dave back at Saratoga, World Approval. He is getting really good at the right time of the year. He followed it up with a win in the Woodbine Mile. He's closing in on $2 million in earnings now. He's a big part of the Live Oak Plantation story with Charlotte Weber and a broodmare who's been a star maker down in Ocala, Florida.
Probably very foolishly, I went out and bought my first racehorse in about 1968. And I had an immediate stakes winner, so I was very lucky, and I caught the bug.
Mrs. Weber's got a lot of class, and she is very humble, and I come from Texas, and I'm not afraid to be boastful for her, and Live Oak Stud on 50 graded stakes winners, and relatively speaking, she is a small operation.
It started out as 1,000 acres. Then I started to buy property that was contiguous to the first 1,000 acres, and now I'm up to 4,500 acres. I have Brahmas, Angus, and then I have broodmares and foals and yearlings and horses in training.
We breed to race and sell broodmare prospects, because we can't keep all of the fillies. But we breed everything to race, and we are smart enough to know that we don't know everything.
My horses, everything I send in training, are usually all my homebreds, plus I'll add a few.
I would say Win Approval probably fits up in a who's who list in the history of the game because she's had 4 graded stakes winners. So that's her breeding through and through. So yeah, she's got to be a top 10 mare, maybe in the history of the game.
All I can tell you is it was probably one of the most exhilarating days of my life. As good as it gets. I mean, how do you get better than you strive for the top and you hit the ball out of the park? That's good. It's good. First over the finish line. I think a lot of people think it's just put out your dollars and it'll all happen, but that's not what happens.
And that's the ruin of a lot of people. But she has shown the persistence to stay in this business for a long, long time that a lot of people, she truly has the passion for racing.
So over the years, I have upped my game. I have gone from being happily satisfied from winning 5 claimers. Now, I want to win stakes.
Mrs. Weber is humble and she's quietly competitive. She's extremely competitive. As the saying goes, the little duck that looks like he's floating on top of the pond, quietly, those little legs are churning underneath the water.
I am very optimistic to think that I'm going to have a very good year of racing.
She's got that passion. She's going to keep grinding.
I'll take a Triple Crown. I like to win 1 a year and then win all 3 and then come down and go up, but that's not realistic. I think I'm going to have some nice fillies. That's always exciting for me because if it's a nice filly, then I can bring her home and breed her. She becomes part of the Live Oak family. And the colts, you know, if I have a Cracker Jack colt, who knows where I'm going to go with that.
Well, she's had some pretty good ones already for Live Oak, and this is a look at what the broodmare Win Approval has produced. It's incredible, 4 millionaires.
She's one of the great broodmares still around these days. I mean, it's incredible what those horses have done. All such good horses. And Win Approval, who was more than competent, in fact, won a Grade 1 going longer distances, but he's proving to be one of the better horses in the country going a mile on the turf.
Could be a Breeders' Cup Mile winner.
Well, he looks like the favorite at this point. You know, you don't know what Euros are going to show up. Ribchester is the best European. He's running 2 weeks earlier at Ascot, so will he even come? And he could well be the favorite in that race.
This is last year. He won the Grade 1 United Nations at a mile and 3/8, but all of a sudden now, you know, they almost scratched him on 4-star day as well because of the rain.
Yeah.
Waited to the very last minute.
Good thing they didn't do that. Wouldn't have been one of the better. They went from changing a lousy meet and making the meet a lot better with a big win in the Grade 1.
Absolutely. We're going to take a break in the action. We still have the Nightcap to come, a very competitive finale here at Belmont. And we know one thing. No one's hit the pick 6.
No, but a lot of people are alive with 3.
Undefeated in sprint competition, Eclipse champion Run Happy captured 3 Grade 1 victories and set blistering speed records at both Keeneland and Saratoga. In the Breeders' Cup Sprint, he dominated the world's fastest runners, going 6 furlongs in a record-breaking 108 and change. The only horse nominated for 3 Eclipse Awards, Run Happy was crowned champion male sprinter, all the while racing 100% drug-free. Champion, millionaire, record breaker, Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back on Belmont Park Live on MSG Plus. Greg Wolf, Andy Serling, Gabby Gaudette with you, getting set for the Nightcap coming up. I want to remind everybody to get signed up and started, and you can play along as you watch all these races we bring you on the show. Bet 100, and you'll get 100 in your account using the promo code LIVE. You can get signed up all across the country with Naira Bets. Go to nairabets.com to play along and take advantage of that free $100 in your account. Here's a look at the field and the current odds for the Nightcap here. Mile and a 16th on the Widener Turf Course, $40,000 maiden claiming event. And 7-2, our favorite, tells you this is a great betting race.
No, it is a fun betting race. I mean, there's a lot of horses. You can look through the 1, the 2, the 5, the 6, the 7, the 10, the 11, 12, are all horses that make a reasonable amount of sense in this race. 2 horses, though, that are dropping are the 6 and 7 in here. The 11 lying in wait is off the claim for Brad Cox, however.
You were just talking about this during the break, 36% off the claim in the turf the last 5 years. That's unreal.
Absolutely amazing. And Brad Cox, if you're not familiar with him, is probably one of the real rising stars of the game. He does an exceptional job. He's got Sassy Little Lila, I believe, who's running in our stake, one of our stake races on Saturday's card, and she ran second in the Grade 1 Just a Game earlier in the year. This horse, though, she sort of had her chances. The question with her is, can she improve a bit and run her best race off the claim for Brad?
Well, she just finished ahead of 2 starts back Final Flurry, who's going to be right outside of her again as they'll meet yet again here, post 11 and 12 here. Well, let's look at Furtive Glance. This is the horse that you like. Class dropper, 2 straight maiden special weights, and now in for 40 maiden claiming.
I like that she's cutting back a little bit in distance in here after going 1 3/8 and 1 1/4. Her dam actually was a stakes winner, group's greatest stakes winner, but she went about 1 1/16. That was her best distance, and she's making a big drop from maiden special to maiden claimers. I think she makes a lot of sense. She's also going to be the favorite or second choice.
Time now for our paddock report, brought to you by Shadwell Farm, building speed for the future. Let's go to Gabby Gaudette.
And he brings up a couple of good points, because it definitely does seem that this filly in the 6 Furtive Glance definitely wants distance, whereas some horses in the paddock, physically, it kind of looks like they want shorter distances. So I guess the question is whether or not she wants the 1 1/16 as opposed to the distances that she's been going recently. For what it's worth, she was entered in a race on August 30th for a maiden 75,000. She was scratched out of that race, and now she shows up here today for the 40 at a shorter distance too. But physically, I have no qualms with her. Like I said, distance definitely seems to be her friend. Now, the 5-star Maven to her inside too, I do like how this filly's behaving in the paddock for Leah Germati. She's another class dropper in here too, and she's coming out of a race behind Remarked, who was forwardly placed, Spy Gal, who might have been pace compromised, and she appeared to maybe be pace compromised 2 starts back, and kind of looks like she likes a little bit more than the mile. So maybe the 5-star Maven definitely doesn't seem impossible. Now, the 11 Lion in Wait, she's an interesting one because she does look kind of racy and maybe one that could like shorter distances, but the blinkers do come off of her today, and first off the claim for Brad Cox. I think the blinkers went on her last time out because she was having a tough time passing horses. She has a lot of seconds on her record, and when she kind of met the other horse coming down to the finish line, she just did not find that will to win. But the blinkers go off, and with the amount or lack of pace in here, guys, I almost wonder if she's going to be forwardly placed, if not on the lead. So maybe that's the strategy to get her out of the rut that she's been in recently.
All right, Gabby, thank you. Our post parade coming up here in just a little bit. We're approaching the 9-minute mark to post as we look at Submit. Blinkers go on today for Christophe Clement. And, dropped into this level, Andy, the last couple of starts. What do you think?
It's interesting they put the blinkers on this horse because she had real trouble last time. I think one of the problems she had, and I don't know that it's Jose Ortiz, whether he's riding to instructions or what was the situation, but watch her. She's the number 3. He seems intent on taking her back. And Jose's a more aggressive rider. You could sort of see how he's he looks, almost looks like Jose Santos frequently used to look. This is not Jose's riding style. And she gets completely shuffled out of position this race, and she spends a significant portion of the race, Greg, sort of between horses, kind of being dragged back in trouble. And the blinkers suggest to me to settle her down, but also I wonder if they want her to be a little more forward and maybe just a little more fluid.
Oh, good point. Yeah, we'll see at this point behind a wall of horses.
She gets completely stayed out here. And, she comes running at the end. I mean, she never really stopped. And she just didn't have that kind of trip you want where you're ever in any kind of rhythm. And you have to think with blinkers, Jose sticks to her. So it's not like Jose's half the race. I don't want to ride her anymore. She's got this, she's got that. Wants another chance on her. And I think she's a very dangerous player in here.
9-2. She is taking play as well as you get a look at Rajiv Mirage.
Trainer John Kimmel.
They're going to send out More Than a Legend, dropping in class, lowest level yet in career start, now number 11 for More Than a Legend.
Horse named for Greg Wolf, actually. She can win this race. I mean, she's not impossible. Once again, one of the things that's sort of more sexy about horses like Furtive Glance and Submit is they have less chances. This horse has had a lot of chances, 10 times in the turf for the second and third, but she's run well enough. Now, in her last race, all she really did was sort of sit on the inside at a time where the inside was very much the place to be. The race was one wire to wire, and she never did any real running. But she's also dropping significantly, has a good inside post, so she could easily get a piece of this.
Sometimes a drop is all it takes, and yet she's had efforts where she has been right there against better. So lucky number 11.
Well, sometimes you just get the right trip and you fall in the right place, and the horse that is supposed to beat you gets the wrong trip.
We'll see 7-1 right now on that filly by More Than Ready. There's so many in here that, with the right trip certainly can win the race. And here's the horse that I was talking about at the top of the show that I liked a lot in this race. This is Final Flurry, beat by a half length last time out, made a furious run from way off the pace at a mile on the turf at Saratoga to just miss.
Yeah, and I'm curious as to what you like about this. It's not that she can't win, because she could certainly win. But one thing to say about her last race, that was a race where Linda Rice, the leader in this race, you'll see, was off the claim for Linda Rice. And I think they just told Jose, just go and try to steal the race at the front end. And she went a little too fast for her own good. So while she was way back, the race did completely collapse.
A move that worked for those connections quite a bit during that meet,
Absolutely.
by the way. Yeah.
I mean, listen, you take your shot, your best chance to win. It didn't work in this case. It doesn't mean it was the wrong move.
And no, you're right, though. Speed did collapse there. But still, this horse has the ability to put in a huge run from off the pace. Ran a huge number in that effort. And we'll see. I just think the outside post is the thing that concerns me the most, especially on the Widener turf course.
Yeah, well, it's a worse post on the inner because you really break it outside. So it's less of interest. But it is, listen, I agree. I'd rather be a little bit more towards the inside, so I don't disagree. I think Gary Gullo, who trains this horse, does a fabulous job. I think he's one of the most underrated trainers in the game, to be honest with you. So I'll never surprise when his horses run well, and I'm not going to knock her.
And we talked about it with some of the others, too. I mean, this is career start number 9 for Final Flurry. On the turf, it's only the 6th try. And so it's not like she's had 100 chances to try and do this.
I don't disagree. I think there are things to like about this horse. She's not impossible. I do think there are others that look a little bit more likely, but she's 6-1. She could go up and be 8-1 or so. But why not take a shot? I mean, this race is open to an awful lot of horses.
Gary Gullo there in your screen, the trainer of Final Flurry, 6-1.
There he is in that white shirt, calm, cool, and collected. Got a big group.
Is he giving off signs that this horse is going to win today?
I don't know what Gary's sign. I used to know a guy that used to look for jockey signals. There's so many crazy things, right, that people do at the racetrack, and they think that, like people are signaling. Most of the time, they're not.
No, you see, if
99.99999% of the time,
if you got to handicap the connections too. If the trainer, comes today, every day they're in a
Gary's
well
not wearing a suit. Gary will not. That was well dressed for Gary. I think he's got his Sunday best on.
Well, Lion and Wait, I think a lot of people, and right now is your favorite on the board in a race that really there is no favorite. But 4-1, blinkers come off. We talked about Brad Cox off the claim, just tremendous numbers on the turf. Very logical runner.
Well, one thing that's going to help your 11 and 12 is they both have enough speed that they could probably overcome that outside post fairly quickly.
Start number 22 for the rail runner. This is French dressing for Leah Giarmati.
She's another that's not completely impossible to get a piece in here, though I thought she had her best chance last time.
More Than a Legend, Rajiv Mirage. John Kimmel team up, the class dropper.
She's a horse that drew well towards the inside, drops a little bit off her last race, and is not impossible.
Blinkers go on. Stars Wilburn.
Those blinkers better have an engine attached to them.
Career start number 3. Did try the turf at Tampa against Straight Maidens first time out. Here's Mama's Red Hat, start number 37.
Well, we've seen some long shots today, though she'd be probably the biggest one of them.
Here's a look at the 6 here. Furtive Glance. Belmont and Jose Lezcano team up.
Big maiden special to maiden claimer drop down, cutting back in distance. My top choice.
Talked about submit. Blinkers go on for Christophe Clement.
A big-time player in this race. If she can settle down with the blinkers, she'll be tough.
Back to the 5, Star Maven, another class dropper for Leah Giramati with Javier Castellano.
She's the other one who's making that big drop in here. Leah's numbers in the drop are not strong.
Gravilia, Jorge Abreu, and Joe Bravo team up.
She's a little slow in this race, but she is just making her 3rd career start, so perhaps she could improve.
Yeah, a big number. Free Kitty is the 9, Kendrick Carmouche for Derek Ryan.
She ran against some lower-level horses at Monmouth and wasn't quite good enough. This is a bit of a reach.
12-1 on Lemon Drop Lollipop, start number 13, and has efforts against better that figure in here.
No, I agree. She has some races that give her a chance to at least get a piece in a wide-open race.
Very mild favorite on the board right now at 4-1. Lion in weight. The blinkers come off.
Off the claim for Brad Cox, who's exceptional off the claim on the turf. She's another horse that has races that could make her very tough, could be forwardly placed.
And final flurry, Joel Rosario, Gary Gullo team up.
Well, your top selection, Final Fury, and who am I to argue with Greg Wolf on his return to New York?
5-1. We'll see how we do here. In the nightcap coming up, it's 3 minutes to post. Taking a break. We'll be back and see how this get-out race works for me and everybody else. Stay tuned.
Chadwell Farm, home to world-class stallions, offers 2 successful stakes sires. Brilliant Miler, Daher, a consistent source of quality. Daher is the sire of black-type winners coast to coast. Grade 1 winner and millionaire, Albertus Maximus, winner of the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile and Don Handicap. He is now siring black-type horses across the U.S. and abroad. Chadwell Farm, building speed for the future.
Back on Belmont Park Live. Minute to post here in the nightcap coming up. Belmont Park Live, brought to you by champion sprinter Run Happy. He's won at 6 different racetracks over the course of his career when he was one of the top sprinter in the country. Of course, Breeders' Cup winner at Keeneland, now standing for $25,000 at Claiborne Farm. Undefeated during his sprint days, set the stakes record in the King's Bishop, track record at Keeneland in that Breeders' Cup, and the only male this century to win a Breeders' Cup race on dirt, running without the addition of Lasix. For more on this field coming up here in the nightcap, let's go to Gabby Gaudet.
Thanks, Greg. And a couple of horses have completely changed from the paddock to the trackside, for better and for worse. We have kind of seen the 5 Star Maven and Furtive Glance, the 6, acting up a little bit on the track, whereas the 7 Submit, before she got the saddle on, she was kind of behaving a little bit sour. She just was acting up a little bit, did not look comfortable in the paddock, but as soon as they put the saddle on and leg up for Jose Ortiz, she was super professional. She kind of bowed her head nicely. She had a lot of confidence walking out to the track. Now, the 12 Final Flurry, I'm all for you, Greg. I am rooting for you, but I have experience with this filly, especially down at Gulfstream, and to me, I feel like she's just better with less distance. I've always thought of her as more so of a closing sprinter versus a distance horse, so there's not much size to her, but I'm pulling for you.
I appreciate it, Gabby. We'll see what happens here, 5-1.
We feel sorry for you, Greg.
On
At this point, you can feel the sympathy for both Gabby and me.
If you knew how my day had played out to this point, which actually you probably do, just don't share it with everyone, you'd be rooting for me.
It's a sad story.
It really is.
It's a sad. Poor Greg coming all the way back from California, New York. You haven't been treated well.
Couple left to load up in the get-out race. Furtive Glance for Andy Serling, the 6 horse. I'll go 12-horse Final Flurry. Here's the voice of New York Racing with the call, Larry Colmus.
And just a few more to go into the starting gate here as Lemon Drop Lollipop steps up to line. Furtive Glance will be the next one to move into the starting gate here. Making her way over along with Lion and Wait and Final Flurry. Here comes Furtive Glance and Jose Lezcano up to the starting gate. And going in, Lion in Wait, moving into line. And Final Flurry will be the last one to go in. To complete the field of 12 here, they're all in line, and we are ready for a start. They're off. Gravelia had a bit of an awkward beginning there. It's a good start for Lion and Wait, who goes out to the early lead. And away running in second is Free Kitty as they make their way to the backstretch. They're followed by Final Flurry in third. And then it's Star Maven fourth. Lemon Drop Lollipop is fifth onto the backstretch. Stars Wilburn sixth on the inside. 7 lengths off the lead. Then Submit racing on the outside of Furtive Glance. More Than a Legend is down toward the inside. And then it's Gravelia who's out of last. Mama's Red Hat in French dressing at the back. 24.03 the first quarter for front-running favorite Lion in Wait with Free Kitty a length and a half back, running in second up the backstretch. Furtive Glance follows in third. And then it Stars Wilburn in fourth. Star Maven is fifth and down on the inside, 5 lengths from the front as they continue up the backstretch. A length and a half farther back to More Than a Legend, racing inside of Final Flurry. And then it's Submit, Mama's Red Hat, French Dressing, and Gravelia, 48.15. Lion and Wait's half mile as they make their way around the far turn. Free Kitty, a length behind, running in second by 2.5. Furtive Glance follows in third. And then it Stars Wilburn fourth on the inside as they make their way around the turn. Lemon Drop Lollipop is next. Submit is beginning a run, but it is a very wide one, 5 deep as they come toward the top of the stretch. In pursuit of Lion and Wait, 3/4 in 1, 12.2, and Lion and Wait turns for home in front. Submit is getting going on the far outside. Still close. Submit's gone down there. Oh, Submit went down at the 8th pole. And it is going to be Lion and Wait who's got the lead here from Lemon Drop Lollipop, and then comes More Than a Legend and Free Kitty. Coming to the line, Lion and Wait will be the winner here over Lemon Drop Lollipop. And then it was More Than a Legend and Free Kitty.
Well, that was difficult to watch, and right now Ryder is still down. That is Jose Ortiz. So we'll try and get you an update as soon as we hear anything with what happened with Submit. As the outrider now catching up to the horse, and the ambulance now doing their best to get to Jose Ortiz as fast as possible. They pulled up right in front of him there on the dirt portion of the racetrack. 11-10-2-9 unofficially, but of course our concern now with Jose Ortiz and the horse.
Yeah, we'll obviously give you any information if we get it. We're coming to the end of the show, but that's the greatest concern. You obviously want to give credit to Lion and Wait, who got the job done, but right now we'll see what's going on with both Submit as well as Jose Ortiz.
Jose being tended to right now by medics, and they've caught up with the horse as mentioned as well. Lion and Wait, your winner. Hopefully we can get you some more information and some good news before we sign off here at the top of the hour. About 10 minutes left in our broadcast. We'll be back to wrap up this nightcap here on this Wednesday afternoon in just a moment here on Belmont Park Live. Stay with us.
After siring the winners of last year's Grade 1 Test Stakes and Humana Distaff, Flatter is having another banner year in 2017. Recent stars include graded stakes winners Flatline and Favorable Outcome, plus multiple graded stakes winner West Coast, who defeated this year's Kentucky Derby, Preakness, Belmont, and Haskell winners in the Grade 1 Travers. Flatter, the successful son of AP Envy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back on Belmont Park Live here on MSG Plus. Greg Wolf, Andy Serling, Gabby Gaudette, Lion and Wait, the 11-horse into the winner's circle in a race that unfortunately marred by the spill of the 7-horse Submit. We do have a little bit of good news, though, to bring you. We saw Jose Ortiz walking off to the ambulance under his own power.
Right. I mean, he was being helped off the turf, but he was walking by himself and obviously went to the ambulance. We can't give you more information, and we don't want to hypothesize, but it's as good as it could be to see him at least walking, and hopefully Jose will be okay.
Meanwhile, Lion in Wait wins for Circle B Racing, trained by Brad Cox. Luis Saez aboard for the win. 11-10 to finish. And again, as we mentioned, we knew this going in. Pick 6 carryover into Thursday.
$14,000, just over $14,000. As Lion Wait, once the 24 quarter, $6 even. Didn't just get bet to 2-1, got bet as heavily as you could down to 2-1. In this case, unlike some earlier races, the money was very smart.
Yes, this one a very logical finish. You have all the late money going to Lion and Wait. But we saw 2-year-old filly performance, a horse that debuted on grass, step up, move to dirt, run very big. And, of course, we had that 30-1 shot win earlier in the card, and that is the reason why we're going to have a pick 6 carryover heading into Thursday.
Yeah, be a carryover in that card. We'll be here to cover the last 4 races. Actually, 4 of the last 5, because we're running 10 tomorrow as we start off with 2 races over the jumps.
Going to take a break in the action. Not done yet. We'll be back with the final segment here on the show. More Belmont Park Live to come. Set up the weekend for you as well. The Kelso coming up on Saturday here at Belmont. Take a look at that field and Sharp Azteca returning.
They're off. Los Alamitos Racecourse congratulates all of the connections of Los Alamitos Derby winner West Coast for his sensational victory in the Grade 1 Travers Stakes at Saratoga. Since our first meet in 2014, many of the top stars in thoroughbred racing have raced at Los Alamitos. Who will be next? Join us for the Los Alamitos Fall Thoroughbred Meet. Opening day is Thursday, September 7th.
Back on Belmont Park Live, and the beautiful North Shore Towers out in the distance, former residence of our director, Mitch Levitas. The parties he used to throw there back in the early 80s. Are you kidding me?
Apparently anyone is allowed to live there if Mitch is.
He was actually escorted off the premises after some of those parties.
One of many places that he's been escorted out of.
Remind everybody to download the Naira Now app. We're making all that up, of course. He's a model citizen.
I wasn't.
Never miss a Belmont race with the Naira Now app. Catch live racing, replays, expert analysis videos, and workouts on demand with the Naira Now app. It's a free download on iPhone, iPad, Android, Chromecast, and Roku. Keep up to date with all the racing from New York and Belmont Park with Naira Now. This weekend, big race coming up, 37th running of the Grade 2 Kelso. And the good news for this field, no more Spirit showing up here.
Yeah, I mean, More Spirit is like MIA, right? He's going to be on a milk carton at some point, right? You can't find him anywhere, right? Where is he?
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing since he had that incredible... I mean, his Met Mile win might be the single most impressive performance we've seen since the Dubai World Cup, and he's been nowhere, but Sharp Azteca was way behind him. He's way the worst to beat.
By 6 1/4 lengths on that afternoon, but Sharp Azteca, of course, came out of that race and was brilliant in the Grade 3 Monmouth Cup, winning by 7+ lengths.
Yeah, listen, he's the controlling speed in this race. He's run well in New York, so it's not like he's got to bring his act here for the first time because his second, the Met Mile, behind More Spirit, who's been tremendous. He's way the horse to beat. I think Divining Rod has a chance. I think that Birdsong has a chance, a horse that was against the track last time at Saratoga. But this is going to be a big mountain to climb to beat this horse.
Hey, Gabby, what do you think? Big performance last time out, and obviously now coming back here to Belmont, where he ran second to More Spirit. What are your thoughts?
Well, I do think Sharp as Tech is going to be the horse to beat in here, and he's also probably going to be the main speed in there. But Andy brings up some really intriguing horses, and I just quickly took a look at the race. But I think Birdsong, who is a very tactical horse who's coming out of that performance that Andy was alluding to. But why can't Divining Rod win? I mean, a lot of people liked him going into the 4-go last time out, and I don't even know if that's his best distance going 7/8. I think he's really good at the one-turn mile. So if he can take that step forward, and I hate to use the bounce factor, but he clearly is. He could improve off of his last race moving forward, off of a huge win, off of the layoff 2 starts back.
So Gabby's basically trying to make sure she holds tightly to that Maryland card of hers, taking a horse in the Mid-Atlantic.
Everyone seems to do that on this show.
You can take her out of the Mid-Atlantic, but you can't take the Mid-Atlantic out of Gabby. But I agree with her.
Near miss against Connect at a mile in that Cigar Mile. So
third off a layoff as well. No, I think she makes good points, even though she's clearly a homer.
I have nothing to say. I mean, yes, I am a homer. I love Maryland. I love Arno Delacour. But, you know, I'm slowly transitioning into a New Yorker, but I'm not quite there yet.
Let me guess, you're betting the Terps this weekend as well.
No, don't be silly. I have limits.
She is. It's clear.
That's your field, compact but competitive group of the 37th running of the Kelso Grade 2, $300,000. And we'll have it for you on Saturday.
Yeah, looking forward to that. We'll be covering that race and a lot of other good race. There's so much great racing here at Belmont in the fall. I mean, the Belmont Fall Champ, as long as the weather holds out, the racing is sensational because the 2-year-olds, a lot of them gotten starts under their belts, so you see them progress along, and so many good and important stake races.
One of my favorite Breeders' Cups that I had ever been to, right here at Belmont Park.
Oh, I've seen some great races in the Breeders' Cup here. I mean, the Tisnow Saki battle was one of the great Breeders' Cup classics of all time.
Was this, I want to say 2001?
Yes, it was. Tisnow wins it for America.
Actually was driving to the racetrack, had to double back to the hotel and return, but I still made it here at plenty of time.
Nice.
Joseph A. Gemma went to Held Accountable. Debut win came on the turf, moved to the dirt, and no problems at all. Might be staying on the main track now after this performance. Stakes win for the daughter of Exchange Rate, Chester and Mary Broman, and Phil Serpy. Hope you enjoyed our show. We're back Thursday afternoon with more action. We'll see you again at 4 Eastern tomorrow. Take care. Change the way you watch racing forever with the new Naira Now app.